Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm gonna do my weekly reading update for February 12th, 2023. So Cooper's here with me. Truman's around somewhere. This was not a fun week for me. I had a lot of things going on stressful wise. And then Friday afternoon, I got an eye inflammation that I've had in the past. It's been 4 years since my last time, so it's pretty good that it's been that long, but my eye starts to ache, and then I get light sensitive, and then I can't read at all or be anywhere in the light. So yesterday I spent most of the time after my eye appointment that I got laying in the dark, and then the medication has started to work, so that's why I'm able to at least have a light on now. I didn't open the shades because the sunlight is the worst. It like just penetrates into my eye and it hurts so bad. So it's not quite as bad. I mean, it's not as bad as, it definitely is better than it was yesterday. Yesterday, again, I was laying in the dark, watching TV, but not watching it. Like I was kind of looking to the side. I did listen to audiobooks, or an audiobook yesterday for quite a bit, but, you know, I did watch a lot of, or I had BookTube on, so I was watching a lot of long videos that I didn't have to like really look at. I just listened to their voice. So it was kind of like audiobooks. Anyway, so, a lot of stressful things. Little things, had nothing to do with work. It was all other little things in my life. And then my brother just texted me saying his furnace is out. So now I have another stress, because if turns out we have to replace his furnace, we don't know, he's going to try to get, a call in. But ours are the same age, so we'll probably replace them both. I don't know. We'll see, because mine's working just fine. But it could go out any minute, I guess, too. So I guess I'm not doing so hot. Anyway, but I wanted to film this just because I didn't get to do my triad chapter video that I was planning to do yesterday for this week. So that's just going to have to be another, I'll have to do it next week. Which sucks. It wasn't what I wanted, but I can't physically read right now. So, I mean, if I get in later today, that'll be nice. Because again, I'm taking medication, every couple hours, so it's getting better and better, but I still can't stand the sunlight, and I just don't know if I can focus on read physically. So I might be listening to audiobooks, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, so let's talk about the books I read, the ones I DNF'd, the ones I'm in the middle of, and what I think I'm gonna read in the next week. So I did finish The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. This is the first book in the First Law series of the trilogy, and then the whole universe, series of this. So I'm doing this with Becca and the Books on her catch-up book club. I've never got to join in before due to what they've been reading. So I did have this on my shelf, the first 3 books in the First Law trilogy. So I've been wanting to read these, and I've always wanted to read The Blade Itself just to see how it was, because I've heard, because again, it's very grimdark, but it's very slow moving, character driven, and it really was, and I really enjoyed it for that, because I liked almost all the characters, even though they're very different, very brutal, and very they're definitely morally gray in a lot of instances. There was one character that I disliked greatly, Giselle, or whatever says his name. He annoyed me. I know why he's in this story, or why we followed him. His perspective, I just didn't like him, or anything that happened with him. I just didn't care. And that's going to be hard for me, I think, unless something happens in the next book and it's just something more. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel about that whole part. Everything else I kind of got and enjoyed. So I did really enjoy this. I'm glad I finally read it. We had to read this for January and February, so I started it at the end of January, and it took me a little while to finish it because I was just reading it a little bit here and there, and then I just finally got to the point where I wanted to know how it ended. So I'm really excited to pick up book 2 before they were hanged, but I'm probably not going to pick it up until the end of March, early April, because I have to read it for March and April. So I'm hoping, just to continue with this series. This is a series I have always wanted to read, so I'm glad I at least got the first book done. So I got that done. I did have from the library The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. I read the book 20 years ago, maybe more, actually. Probably was a lot longer than that. forget the year. But this is a novel, a graphic novel of it. Very pretty. It doesn't look, I mean, it has some of the artwork it's kind of reminiscent of the movie, but not, it's definitely different. It's very pretty. This is actually something I meant to buy when it first came out, and I missed it, and then I've never found a copy of it. So I finally just saw my library had it, and I said, well, I'll just read it through the library and enjoy it that way. So I really did like the adaptation of this to graphic novel. It was really pretty. I do want to reread the book at some point. It's been, as I said, it's been decades. So I would like to do that at some point, just not right now. This was enough to give me the fix of looking at The Last Unicorn. We're following the last unicorn as she is searching for others like her. And she hears rumor of a country where they might have gone, and something about a Red Bull. And as I said, if you haven't seen I think the movie might have traumatized me as a kid just because it was dark, but it is one of my favorites from my childhood too, if that makes any sense. And I did really enjoy this anyway, so it was great to revisit that, and I had that from the library. I then finished Crocodile on the Sandbag by Elizabeth Peters. I think I was reading this last weekend. Anyway, I did this by audio by Barbara Rosenblatt. And so I thought I had read this a lot more recently, reread this. So this is the first book in the Amelia Peabody mystery series. So this is in the 1880s, and Amelia has just come into some money from her father's death, and she decides to travel. And she is not the typical woman, and so she wants to go to Egypt. And she goes to Italy on route there, and she meets Evelyn, who is down on her luck, and takes her in, and then they both go to Cairo to explore the pyramids. And things just kind of happen, and then there's a mystery involved with where they go, and of course Amelia and Evelyn meet other archaeologists, and they get kind of involved in one of the digs, and it just kind of goes from there. There's a mystery to it. It's just, this was a fun one. It's one of my favorites mysteries, this book itself. And I hadn't realized it had been so long since I read it, and I think I have read it. It said the last time I read this was 2004, and it was like the third time I'd read that, because I think I read it first in 1999. And then I read it again in 2002, and then I read it in 2004. And then my records don't show I read it again. I didn't read it again, but I feel like I did. But I don't know. Maybe it's been that long, 19 years? That just seems wrong. But then also, I read more of the series than I thought. I went through my records, as I said, and found out I read up to book 13 out of the 20 that are out. The last one is one that was a co-written one, because Elizabeth Peters passed away. So I read up to 13, and then I think I had to wait from paperback to hard, wait for those. And then I forgot, and then I never came back to this. So I'm rereading the series. I've decided to reread the series. I love the humor in here, the action, and I love the interactions with Amelia and someone she meets in this book. It's just so cute. I just love them. And I love the way the stories go, that I'm looking forward to the reread. I'm going to listen to some of them on audio. I have a lot of them physically, but my Audible Plus right now has, I think, some of these. So I read this one, and then the next two, I think 2 or 3 of them at least for sure, are on Audible Plus. So I will probably start listening to more of these. I might wait till March Mystery Madness to be listening to more of these, but I might pick up one before the end of the month. I'm not sure, because The Curse of the Pharaohs is the next one, and I have it kind of on deck of when I get ready for it. But anyway, it's a great mystery. I want to read more mysteries this year. I know this is a reread, but it's been over 20 years since I read most of this series. Most of the series I read in 1999 and 2000, I think, is what I figured. And so I'm gonna reread the ones, because I don't remember. This one I remembered the most. This is the one because I've read it the most. I still think I've read it since 2004. It just feels like wrong that haven't got to that. Anyway, I don't know. I then picked up and read Crowbones by Anne Bishop when this showed up on Tuesday. It just came out in paperback, so I, as I said, I read the first 2 books in the World of the Others series last week, the week before, and so I was really looking forward to book 3. I want more, and this is all I have right now. So this is, as I said, this is connected to the Others series, which is one of my favorites of all time. These ones are definitely part of that. This is considered like an offshoot, a little later than what those are. These ones, this is book 3. And it's a world where it's an alternate history world where most of the land is owned by the Others, or the Terra, I can never say that word, Indigene. And they are shifters and vampires and other things. And humans only have so much of the land to use. They're only given permission for so many things. And things happened in the first series that kind of changed a lot of things between the relationship between humans and the Terra Indigene. And then this again is talking about one area called Lake Silence, which is where there's a resort where the Terra Indigene and humans kind of lightly interact. And things can go wrong when that happens. This one happens to be over kind of what they're calling Trickster Night, or it's their Halloween kind of thing, and that time of the year. And something happens where the Crow Guard, or the ones who can change into crows, they have something called Crowbones, who is kind of like their boogeyman that shows up, and we're not sure what's going on. And it's very, as I said, it's not, these are just, I just love the interactions between the way that she writes the shifters and the vampires, and how they think about humans, and then how humans are thinking about the Others, and how, there's that miscommunication. I mean, not like it can be, because they're looking at from things from different perspectives, was also opening their eyes to different things. So anyway, I really enjoy this series. Again, I read this as soon as it dropped. The guy got it, and I read it. So as I said, now I'm caught up on that series, which is sad because there's no more books right now. But it is one of my favorites, so I'm so glad that I read it. I'm caught up now, as I said. Let's see here. Hold on. I can find. Okay. So I then listened to Miras' Last Dance by Lois McMaster Bujold. So this is book 4. Book 4 in the Pendrick and Desdemona series. So this is another novella in the World of the Five Gods. So again, I have not read the novels in that series. I have one of them on my shelf, but I've started to read these by audio from my library. So they're done by Grover Gardner. Really well done. I really enjoy these. These are light fantasies where we're following Pendrick, who has a chaos demon who's attached to him, and they're traveling around and meeting other people. And this one was kind of attached to what happened in the last one, which right now I can't think, Pendrick's mission. So this is kind of a continuation from that. So I liked it for what happens in this, except near the end, it kind of got a little sad for me on a certain point, but I'm kind of curious to see what happens after this. The next book kind of goes back between 2 of the books. So it's like, so I'm doing it in publication order, not by like the timeline of the story. I decided to do it publication order. That was the list I found first. So I'm just doing it that way. So again, this was book 4. I really enjoyed it. They're short novellas. So I will continue on. I have the next, as I said, Pendrick's Fox number 5. I have ready to go on my Libby app whenever I'm ready for it. But because I have too many books on my Libby app right now, we'll have to see when I get to it. But again, it's another short one, so I'm probably will slip it in somewhere along the line. I then read all this week. I read as a buddy read with Berner's Bookish Adventures. So Berner and I read the Decagon. I cannot say that. Decagon, I don't know how you say that word, House Murders by Yukito Ayatsuji. So this is translated from the Japanese by Ho-Ling Wong. So this is published in 1987, I believe. I think it was 87. Oh, yeah, 87 in Japanese. And it is an And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie retelling, but kind of with a twist. So it's definitely different. It has to do with some college students who are in a mystery club who go to this island where a tragedy happened with a mansion that was there, and people died there, and then it burned down. And then they are gonna stay in the Decagon house, which is kind of like a little sub house, like a little extra building on there that's a 10-sided house, and there are guest rooms, and it has a kitchen and a bathroom and stuff. And so they're going to stay there for the week because they're a mystery club, so they're they like that kind of stuff. Anyway, so this starts out with, it's like these kids are just gonna go have this fun week, and then on the mainland, one of the people who had quit the club because of something that had happened the year before, he gets a note in the mail saying that somebody he thought was considered an accident. Accidental death was actually murdered. And so then he gets started on doing his investigation on land. And then we also have what's going on the island. This book was really, really interesting. It was definitely an And Then There Were None feeling. I really enjoyed the way we didn't know what was going on. I mean, I had my guesses from the very beginning, and yet I kept changing everything, every time we get more information, and then we'd have more the investigation, but also all the things that are happening on the island. So it would go back and forth, like it'd be day one on the island, day one on the mainland. And so it was really interesting to see how the week went out for these guys, and how horrible it went. And I was really impressed with the way I kept changing my mind and changing to who I thought it was. And then in the end, it was a surprise overall. I'm not saying, as I said, part of it I got, but not really. So again, it's one of those mysteries, which was really fun for me. Those are the ones I really like. So I really enjoyed this. This definitely makes me want to pick up more mysteries, which is what I'm wanted this year. This year's my year of trying to get back into mysteries. And I really enjoyed this. Again, I really love Japanese literature. So I really want to read more Japanese crime fiction too, to see if maybe that's another area I want to read. I have a couple books. Or no, I have one book on my shelf, and I might buy a couple more. No, I have 2 books on my shelf. So I might pick up a couple more. I might try to read those in March Mystery Madness that's coming up. But I really enjoyed this. Berna and I had I think we both liked reading this. We again, we didn't guess the answer, but it was fun. Like I really enjoyed this, and I think it's definitely what it says is a Japanese cult classic mystery, and I think it is. I think it's really fun. I don't think it's a book you want to read over and over, but I really enjoyed reading it and getting through it, and then talking about stuff with Berna. So I really enjoyed that, and I'm glad I got to this. This was on my 6 translated books I wanted to read in 2023. So I got one more checked off on that list. And then I picked up and finished Walden by Henry David Thoreau on Friday. So after I finished this, I read this through my lunch break at work. And then that's when my eyes started to hurt me, but I didn't really know that it was going to be the iritis. So, but I decided to listen to an audiobook, and because the book I brought with me, I'm going to talk about that I DNF'd, I was like, I don't want to read this. So I put this audiobook came from the library. It was William Hope. And again, this is a book that is a classic nonfiction that I've been meaning to read over, just one of those things I've never got to. And I'm glad I listened to this. I don't know if I could have read it physically, or it would have probably taken me a really long time. But because the audiobook was just really mellow and easy to listen to, it worked out really well. It's definitely one I might revisit at some point, but it was interesting to read. I guess it didn't do as much as I thought it was going to do about talking about being on your own and being in nature. But I liked his observations about nature and the things through the year, or the 2 years that he was there, and things that he dealt with and not dealing with other people very much. And I don't know. It was just an interesting book. I'm not going to, like as I said, I'll probably keep this copy, and I might come back to it to think about it more. I think in some ways, I think I listened to it too fast because I listened to it all on Friday. But it was interesting and enough that I'm like, I might want to go back and look at it, but I don't know. It was much easier on, like, looking at it. I'm just like, oh, yeah, I'm glad I read it on audio because it looks pretty dense. Because again, it's really just him talking about stuff, so about different things. So anyway, I really enjoy this. This is a nonfiction that I wanted to get to at some point. It was not on my nonfiction list, but I did read this, so I got another book off, or I read another book off my TBR that I've been meaning to, and I just haven't. Okay, so let's talk about the DNFs. So I did DNF Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski. She narrated the book as well. I listened to it on audio. I really did enjoy her style, and I think the book is really important, looking at sexuality, mostly female centric things, and talking about pleasure and other things. I think this is a really good book. I just think this week, when I tried to read this, the more upset I got with everything else, all the stress things, the other things going on, that I was going, this is not the time for this, nor is this a book I want to deal with right now. I think there's a lot of good things in here. I got 28% in before I was like, okay, I just need to DNF this and give it back to the library because there were so many people waiting for it. I didn't want to just hold on to it. I did try, but I was just like, it just wasn't the time for me, nor, as I said, I like books on hearing about, things about, physically, or, nature, not nature. Okay. So we're talking about medically things, and also just trying to, I think her biggest thing that came back was that, no matter what you have the same parts as everybody else, just maybe not the same size or shape or whatever, but you're all the same. You're normal, you're fine. And I think she did really good about trying to calm people's fears about certain things about their anatomy and stuff. And I think it's a really good book. I don't think I needed to read this. I think if I read this about 10, 15, 20 years ago, maybe it'd be more relevant. But right now I'm not in a place where I'm dating or thinking about it or doing anything with that. And I just don't care. So it didn't, it wasn't necessary, I guess, in my time of life. I know I'm not like ancient, but I just mean right now it's just not on my mind. And I just go, I think it was really interesting. I think it's something that I could come back to if I was still wanted to. It was a really good book. I have nothing against it itself. I think it really will help other people. And if you're, a young woman who is kind of confused about certain things or wants to know more about body stuff, sexually, I would read that. Anyway, so I don't know if that makes any sense. The book I DNF'd is Forging a Nightmare by Patricia A. Jackson. I'm really disappointed in this one. I don't think it's its fault. I think it really is a me problem with this one. I think it just moves too fast. Even though, I got 110 pages in, and I felt so much happen in those 110 that I did not feel I understood really what was going on. I think there's a lot of good action in here. I think the world building is interesting. I just feel like it's not fleshed out enough for me. Now, this is a standalone, and again, it is almost a 500-page book, and I was only a fifth of the way through the book. But I just felt like we were rushing, like everything was a rush, and I'm like, I just wasn't enjoying it, and I found I didn't want to pick it up. I just wanted to, I was like, let's go read something else. It didn't do anything for me that way. I'm kind of disappointed. I really wanted to enjoy this. Again, this is about FBI agent who is looking into grisly murders, really, really horrible murders of some people, and he gets kind of swept up in learning that there are angels and there are other kind of creatures out there, and then he and he also meets what is called a nightmare, which I don't want to give away anything on this because I think a lot of people would like this book. It just didn't work for me. It's really fascinating on how he gets involved, and I did love his mother. I wanted more of his mother. She has a scene in here and I'm like, I want more of her, but it's just, I couldn't make myself read the rest of the book to get there. I don't know. I think some books just don't do it for me. And again, it's an urban fantasy that didn't work for me and I don't know why. I just wish I could have liked it more, but I have too many books on my shelf and too many books I want to get to keep forcing myself to read stuff that I'm having trouble with. So I am going to let this one go. It is sad, but that happens. Okay, so really quick, I just want to say I am listening to The Heart of What Was Lost by Tad Williams. This is the novella that comes in between Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn and The Last King of Ostenard series. So, as I said, I'm doing my reread of the whole Ostenard world to be ready for the very last book, which I have to still read. The third book in the Last King of Ostenard series, which I'll get to this year. But I'm listening to this on audio by Andrew Wincott, who did the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn series that I just wrapped up. So I'm really, this one takes place just after Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, following Duke is Grimdor and Grimoire. I don't know how to say his name anyway. I just love him. He's one of my favorite characters in the whole series. And so we're following him in pursuit of the Norns. Anyway, this is just a kind of an in-between one that introduces you more to who are the bad guys in Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, and kind of gets more of their side of it, which is interesting because of what happens in The Last King of Ostenard. I think it's a great bridge book because it opens up a lot of stuff that will happen in the next series. So I think it is important to read in between Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn and the next book, The Witchward Crown, which is the first book in the Last King of Ostenard series. So anyway, I'm doing my reread of that. Now, I said I want to do it this month. Not sure I'm going to pick up The Witchward Crown. I'm probably not going to pick that up till April. Probably not in March because I have so much stuff already for March. And then the book that I was reading when my eye gave out on me or wouldn't let me focus is Radiant Sin by Katie Robert. This is book 4 in the Dark Olympus series. I was so excited that this showed up on Friday. I started reading it right away. I got 77 pages in, and so I'm not super far, but that's as far. And then my eyes started to hurt, so I stopped reading, and then I didn't get to read anything yesterday. I was so hoping to finish this yesterday, or at least make a lot of progress in it, because I had nothing to do yesterday after I went grocery shopping with my brother, and then just didn't get to this. So this is my as I said, I got this through her Patreon. I do have a little book plate for her signature, and I'm not sure where to put it in the book. Well, we'll see. Anyway, but anyway, so this is another one of my highly anticipated releases for this year that I wanted to read. This one, as I said, it's romance, but it has kind of like a mafia thing to it, but it has Greek mythology mixed in. We're following Cassandra, who works for Apollo, and they are forced to fake date and go to this house party put on by a character that we meet in book 3. And it's, kind of dangerous and stuff. But these two have both been pining for each other for quite a while. So you have them, like, they're doing the fake dating, but, they get some of the benefits of that. So it's a cute story so far. I just said, I'm really enjoying this one. I just love Katie Robert books. So I am when I can focus on a book, I will pick this one up next. So then just really, really, of course, I just talk so much. I'm hoping to get back to the Queen of Raiders this week. I am still so devastated by the scene that made me cry. Back in the, like 50 pages in. So I do want to pick this up. I do have the audio for this from the library, so I might try that to get me into it, and then maybe I might switch back to physical. I just need to get back into this because I want to get through this series. This 4-book series is the 9 Realms, and this is following. Well, the first book is mostly about a queen and her heir, her daughter, and they are trying to deal with things that are happening outside of their country as well as the plots against them within their country. And then this is, again, continuing on that story. Don't look at the back. They always give away what's happening with these books. They do have many different characters in different areas of this world, which I find really interesting. So this one is definitely dealing with one of the other groups that, you know, is going on a raid. Anyway, so I don't want to get back to this one because I want to get through that series this year. I did pick up and I kind of read the first couple pages of The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. So this one I picked up Thursday night, and I thought I might have read this, but then I wanted to give Forging a Nightmare another chance, and I did, and then I just like, no. So I will probably pick this up hopefully later this week, I'm hoping. But this is the first book in the duology. Oh, I don't know what the name of the series is. I don't know, but it has to do, it's an urban fantasy that has to do with the boroughs of, the Great Cities series. I think it was supposed to be a trilogy and now it's a duology. Anyway, I think so. But I think it's the cities have kind of some kind of life to them in the different boroughs. I'm not sure, I haven't got that far yet. The first couple of pages are really kind of weird. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm hoping, as I said, hoping to pick that up later this week, or I might pick up Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I do want to start this series maybe this week, maybe next week. We'll see. But anyway, this is the first book in Red Rising series, which is the sci-fi following Darrow, who I think tries to fight back as he's been his people, the Reds, have been oppressed by the Golds, and I think he tries to infiltrate them. I'm not sure. Other than that, everybody talks about this one, and I want to get onto that series. So that is it. Yeah, another long video. Anyway, I said my eye is fine overall, but I don't think I'm going to be reading today, which sucks because I really want to read Radiant Sin. But now I'd have to go deal with my brother's furnace. I don't want to deal with this stuff. So I'm guessing that'll be the next thing that we'll be paying for. Anyway, things just keep going. Anyway, so that's it. What are you guys reading? How are you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are having a better week than I am. I just want it to calm down. So Cooper and I are going to go. Truman's probably waiting for me out on the couch. So anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.